we got lunch.
Sure. You're going to go for it, Sean? Go, Sean. Contact.
All right, here we have balling contact.
Okay, so ball retention and contact, the skill, the objective we want to work on is the score the try and come back in the Superman ball presentation. So that's the skill we're looking for in this. We're calling it the Superman relay, or if you're from Western, you could call it the Supergirl relay, I guess. So teams of 3. You have 6 cones spread out along your field. I don't think I need to draw it, but they're in a straight line along the field. Teams of 3. 6 cones spaced out. It's just a relay race where they have to run out to the first cone, present the ball, score the try, and then bring it back in the Superman presentation. But you have one of the teams who's not in there following along, and the next player in the relay cannot pick that ball up and keep going until that person's demonstrated proper form, their body's out at that 6 o'clock, 180-degree angle to present it. And they have the players, their teammates are kind of judging them on this, saying go or no go, or they have to reposition and then the next player picks it up. But it should flow pretty fast, and it's just a relay to the end, and the team that wins it gets the point, and you can go back obviously in the other direction and do it a few times and tally up some points. And you could have any number of teams doing this at once, depending on how many players or spaces you have, and you bring in one of the teams who's in the resting phase to be judging it and coaching their teammates. Oh, we're not supposed to coach. Refereeing their teammates on whether they've done it properly and continue the relay. Ways you could build it up. Afterwards, you'd add in one of those players has to ruck over the ball, and then the Superman presentation has to happen underneath the ruck like it's really going to happen. But what we're getting out of this is just urgency and speed in the ball presentation. And as they relay down the field, obviously they're going to get more tired, and they'll have to keep doing it with proper form.
Is it 6 cones, so it's 6 people, or is it 6 cones and it's 3 people?
3 people, so everybody should get a couple reps on the ground.
So when you said 6 cones, you mean 2 teams going side by side?
Just draw 6 cones.
It's a line of 6 cones.
Yeah, a line of 6
Across
cones.
the
All in one row?
No,
Stop points. There's 6
you'd have more than one for each team. So if you got 3 teams, you'd have 3 rows of 6 cones.
Oh, so it's a race.
Yeah, it's a relay race. It's a relay race.
Okay.
And you,
I like it. I mean, it's pretty simple.
yeah.
The other thing about it too, the creativity part is that the players, since there's 3 guys going, first guy goes out 10 meters, 15 meters, and he does score the try, he does the Superman. The other 2 players are following him. They have to time their pick and go to maintain the speed to win the race. So if they're just standing waiting to pick up the ball and go, and they're learning, wow, I got to pick that ball up on the fly. It's also because most of the time in open field, the Superman is a way to keep the defender as far away from the ball for poaching. So then you got guys running on to that guy who's out there going, lonely ball, boom, Superman, a guy coming, pick and going.
And at the beginning, since we've got players refereeing it, we'd have to set the objective of, here's what we're looking for. We're looking for this Superman ball presentation. And I want you to judge how your buddies are doing this and tell them if the next player can pick the ball up or not. What were you going to say, Dean? Sorry.
The other area where we develop the creativity is for each individual, how are they going to do their spin? Because part of this is you can't pick up the ball until you're actually in proper position. And each individual, for me, it'll take about 20 minutes to actually make the spin. But if I can try to figure out how to make it faster, develop the individual tactics, even a game or relay as simple as this, there are tactics on how to win. And doing the spin, even figuring out the best way to do the spin, is a tactic. The speed coming onto your teammate, a tactic. That's where we develop our creativity, even in something as simple as this relay.
But you do want them to score the try before they score.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to slide in like first base. Or, you know,
Well, the one to need to have a 180-degree turn.
Right? Yeah, they're going to score, right?
Oh, yeah.
Questions, comments?
It's a good game. I think that's so basic, but yet it
like how it's flexible in the sense where you said 2 lines, or it could be 3 lines, and then my mind goes, or it could be 4 lines.
Yeah.
Or it could be 6 cones, or it could be 8 cones, so
9
it has a
cones.
lot of.
Yeah, you can work within the
it's very
space and
workable
players that you
to
have.
The number of players, how little or how great it is, right? I guess I would only ask, like, now what does the winner get? Does the winner get to step off, or does the winner have to stay on? You know, that kind of stuff. Create that incentive. You know.
There you go.
Bragging rights.
Bidders, yeah. I love it.
Well, with my kids, it would be ice creams, not pints. But
So we're getting some good feedback. We like it.
I like it.
I have.
You know what I like is it's so simple.
Okay, perfect.
Crazy, yeah.
I'm going to just ask then.
I don't know.
Um, I know what obviously the first level of competition is, but where do we want to go with this? So just look down here, competition and challenge. So we've given the 5 points, or have we given the 5 micro skills associated with ball placement? What's the first one? No, it's not.
Footwork.
Footwork. So we have a stationary cone, so how can we add that then?
oh,
Yeah. So these are the tiny
and a
things.
sidestep.
It could be the sidestep the cone. I'm okay with that as long as it's one side of the cone or the other, not directly over the cone. As soon as we bring out a tackle bag, what is the first thing that every rugby player in the world hits? Is the tackle bag. So the micro skills associated with the skill, ball placement, is in that order. There's 5 of them and they're in the order particularly for it. It's footwork to get to the side, lower body height, leg drive, score the try. It's not really, it's a misnomer. We're actually landing on our forearms because if we reach the ball out, we've given it to the opposition if we get allowed to hit the ground. So we have to know what those 5 micro skills associated with ball placement are, so that then we can have our players, as the referees, know what to look for. So then there's no cheating, which was up on the board here. So they must know that there's 5 components to ball placement, and then they're refereeing correctly and judging their teammates correctly, and then the final part, Superman, to place at exactly 6 o'clock. We know the reasoning behind that is for the next support player, that he doesn't have to look down to see where the ball is placed. He can put his footwork wherever he wants and clear out the trash. So we as coaches need to know what those 5 areas are first, so that we can tweak this game to get it exactly where we want because of this part here. Because where would we go now? So we've started with a simple, I think really good, it's a relay race where we've got referees, we've got reps. Now what would we do next to make this more game-like or more our game-like? What would we add at these cones?
Defenders.
Yeah, perfect. Defenders could be in tackle suits, could be in pads, but again, fail is if he hits the pad or she hits the pad straight on. They've got to go push that pad to one side or the other, lower body height, leg drive, score the try on the forearms, back to 6 o'clock. Referees all agree, yep, move on. And it's a race. What else could you do with that defender? After let's say it's one with a tackle pad, what about if that defender just fell straight down on the ball placer then? Are we replicating the game again? Yeah, so we've gone from simple to complex. Love it. Yeah. See where we can go with this? So it's still a race, but you're making it harder and harder, and then of course you could have him land on the player for a fraction of a second or a second and a half, and then get up and have to be, but, yeah. Now, I mean, if that's not game-like, people forget and start working on things that are very small percentage of time in a game of rugby. Catch, pass, and the ground game are the most common core skills in the game. People don't understand or forget that we're looking at anywhere between 200 and 300 contacts in a game. That means 100 to 150 are yours. The importance of working on the ground game, those 3 components, you know, working on the ground, working on the clear out, and working on the clamp is terribly, terribly important. So yeah, I love this. The more reps, the better, and then make it more complicated, more game-like as you move on. Awesome. So we'll work that one this afternoon, won't we? That's a beauty. Cool. Awesome. I have one more question before. So when you guys, when I came over to you, you asked, they wanted to change one part of it. Would you just explain where your thought process was? Because I liked that also. You wanted to do it in a circle.
A circle, but
Yeah.
in the terms of a ball placement in like Superman, it being north-south is really important, and so going in a circle doesn't make sense because you're like, it's really obscure which way your team is. So where the ball should really be doesn't make sense.
And if you're on a field with lines on it, you put the guys on the lines, 10, 10, and 50 in the middle, so that they're on the line. The visuals there, they've got to get exactly back all the way around.
Yeah.
To start at least. Yeah.
And that angle that you're going all the way back to 6 o'clock, it's so important because the gate's so much narrower that the defenders can come through than if it's the old way of laying out perpendicular.
Yeah. I'm glad you came with that. When you asked me, Tobin, and I just looked and I went, think about how that